So what I want to talk about in this video is something known as SharePoint views. So this allows you to look at the information in SharePoint components via a number of different means. Now you can customize those to suit your needs. So we'll go through how you set those up and how you use those. So what I've done is I'm going to use a document library as an example here, but you can certainly use a list, a calendar or contact to achieve exactly the same thing. Now here's our document library. You'll notice at the moment that we have basically the three columns. We have the name, modified and modified by. So that's the way we're seeing our information. So first thing we'll do is we'll just go in here and we'll drag a couple of documents up into here, just so that our library has some information. And again, you can simply drag and drop from Windows Explorer. So what you'll see here, again, we get the name of our file. You'll see that we get a modified and a modified by. Now, if we actually go in and look at one of these files here, so if we select this and we go up to the files and we look at the view properties, you'll see that we get not only the name, but there is also a field here called title. So we could go in here and we could edit this and put in here hello world title, okay, and save that. Now that means that the document has a name and a title, but as you see, the only thing we're displaying at the moment is the actual name of the file. To actually go in and view that information, we would have to click in and view the properties of that document. Now, that is because the way that it's being displayed at the moment in SharePoint is a view. Now, the views are specific to the library or the list or whatever, and if we go up into the library tab up here, you'll see that we have an option that's called current view, and if you pull that down, the only view that we have at the moment is all documents. So this is in the format that we're seeing. So to create another way to look at or to display our documents, what we need to do here is to create a new view. Now when we do that, we can base this view off a standard view, a calendar view, a datasheet view, a Gantt view, and also something developed in SharePoint Designer. You can also select from existing views. So important to remember that the elements in SharePoint can have as many different views as you want, and you can easily flick between them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the all documents view. So I'm going to copy that effectively and then base my new view on that as a starting point. So what I'm going to call this here is, for example, view 1. You'll see that we also have the option to make this the default. So that means that when we come into our element in SharePoint, that is the way that we'll see our information. So we'll leave that unchecked at the moment. I can also elect to view it set it up as a personal view. So that means that when I go into the system, that's what I see. And I can also select, if I have the rights, to create a public view. So that means that when everybody comes in, they will see this the way this library appears. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, for example, get rid of the modified and modified by, and what I'm going to do is scroll down here and you'll see that I have an option called title. Now I can select all the fields that are available to me to display, and you'll see here that I can also set up where they appear from the left. Now if we scroll down, I can choose to how I want to sort my information, so how it's going to be sorted when it displays. I can select whether I want to filter the information. Maybe I don't want to show everything in this view, so perhaps I only want to see PDF documents or Word documents. Now as I scroll down, you'll see that I have a number of other options. I can, for example, group my files together. So what I can do here, for example, is I can group them together by file type. So that will then break them out and group them together so that it puts similar file types together. Now I'm going to choose to have that as expanded, so I'll see everything. And down here you'll see that I can also, for example, change the style if I want. So you can go through, select all those options. When I'm ready, I select OK. Now that's going to basically create a new view. As you can see, this is a new way of looking at my documents in the document library. Now, first thing you'll notice is I have the name and the title. These are the only two fields that I selected. you'll see that I have grouped them by the file type. So these are Word documents, this is a PDF, and this is a PowerPoint. So this has automatically grouped them. Now this view is now the second one in my library. Now the way I can access my views is, you'll see here, that's the view name there. I can also go to my All Documents, which will take me back to the way it is. So important to remember that a view is simply a way of looking at the same data in a SharePoint element. Once I set it up, I can easily flick between the two. So I can do that on the menu up the top. The other way I can do it is go up to Library, and if we have a look at the current view here, you'll see now we have the two options. We have the default, All Documents, and we have the public one, which I created. So again, we can flick back to All Documents. Now, if we go out and view a normal user, so again, this is a standard user. I've set this up as an administrator who's been working on a document library. I'm just going to refresh the view so we can actually see the documents in our library. So this will show us our documents in our standard view. If we then go up to Library and then we can go All Documents, you'll see that again we have that view option available to us. So one user can look at this view, another user can look at the All Documents. Now that gives me a lot of flexibility in the fact that I'm able to create lots and lots of different views that I can work with my information. So in this case, what I can do is, let's go in and go to a library again. Let's create a new view again. We'll base it, this case again, on our All Documents. So what we'll do in here is we will make this look a little bit different, but what we'll do now is we will make this the default view. So what that means is that the very first time I come into my element, in this case the document library, this is what I will see when I enter it for the first time. So again, let's get rid of modified and modified by, and what I might do, for example, is go in here and put in the file size so I know how big the files are. Now what I'll do is, scrolling down here again, one of the options that I have is an option here to total. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to total up the column for file size. Okay, so I'm going to sum all that up so I've got a quick indication of how much size those files are taking up. So now if I save that, I've now got a second view of my library called View 2. You'll see it has the name and the size of the file, and it gives us a sum of all that at the top here as we expected. We've got that we can flick back to our All Documents. We can also go to our original View 1 which we created. Now again, same information, just a different way of looking and organizing that information. Now if we go back and look at an ordinary user, so what I'll do here for the ordinary user is I will go back to the home page of my team site, which at this stage obviously is blank. Now when I navigate to Documents, what you'll see is, because I've made View 2 the default, when I go into the library, that's exactly what I see. Now you can certainly change between any of these if you want, easily to do, but now when I navigate to Documents, the view that will be shown by default is View 2, which I have selected and configured when I was creating that view. Now if we want to basically go back and edit any of the views, we just simply need to go to Library. We can pull this down here and we can select the view, okay, that we want to work on. So in this case we've currently got View 2 selected. Now again, what we can do is, when we have the view selected, we can go in here and select to modify this view. That will take us back into the area where we can, for example, change the name of the view, change how we've got the columns configured, the sorting, and all the other options that are available to us. So again, we can modify, update, change all these views. We can get in and we can modify a view. Is we can go into the library option to show the ribbon. We can go to library settings, and if we scroll down the bottom of this page, you'll see this lists all our views, and you'll see that we can see that our View 2 again is our default view. So again, I can, if I want, go in and create a view. That'll take us to the same configuration and setup page, but I can again go into View 2 here and I can make this change as required. Now for example, if I wanted to maybe remove View 1, what I can do is select view 1, and you'll see that I can now delete that view, which it allows me to do. Now, we can't delete the default view if it, once it's set up to be the default. We need to change to another view and make that the default before we delete the original. So if I want to get rid of view 2, what I need to do is I need to go into the all documents. I need to modify this view, and what I need to do is I need to make this view the default view. Okay, so this is now going to be the standard one that will be displayed when we go into our document library. Once I've made something else the default, what I can do is again go into my view 2, and then if I go into the option to once again modify that view, we should see that we have the option to delete. So therefore I can delete that view, and now I'm back to my original starting point where I only have the single view available to me in this document library. So in summary, remember that views are a way to display information from any element within SharePoint, whether that's a document library, a list, a calendar, or a contact. You can create as many different views as you want. You can basically configure those views to display as little or as much information as you want. You can create new views based on existing views to extend them and modify them quickly and easily. You can also elect to make a view default. So this means that when you go into the library from that point forward, that is the default way the library will display. So again, you can go into these views, you can create additional ways of looking at your data, you can remove them and configure them as you require. Now this makes using SharePoint and displaying information much more relevant. So in a lot of cases, best practice is always to only display the most relevant information for users, and using views, this is the way to approach that. So hopefully that's given you a good overview of how views work, how to get started with them, how to create them, and again how to delete them if you do need them. So I thank you very much for watching this video.